Welcome back to the fully demonetized, 100% viewer-supported, high-impact flicks channel. I just have one question for you. Why did all kneel while Neil stood? Why did all kneel while Neil stood? And why is there significance of the number he was wearing? I'm just asking a question. I'm not making any assertions. There's a whole lot smarter people out there than me, and maybe you can come up with an answer. People ask me all the time,
"Hey Brian, do you really use that keto elevate stuff, and does it really work?"
The answer is yes and yes. Never in my entire life have I lost body fat so quickly. Not even in my prime at 25, which is over 25 years ago. I'm approaching 54 this year. If you want to support the channel and do your health a favor, grab some with my link in the description. I want to ask you a question because a quote that we're going to hear at the end of this video right here, where Chip Roy nominates Representative Jim Jordan for the House Speaker, he says, and I'm quoting, "We can't stop the swamp from running over the American people." The Republicans are saying we can't stop the swamp from running over the American people. Then what are you there for? What is Congress for? Isn't Congress supposed to be there to secure our liberties? Aren't they supposed to be there to make sure that our freedoms remain intact? Aren't they supposed to be there to make sure that we don't spend money that we don't have, that we don't fund people that we don't need to be funding, that the American people are taken care of? I'm going to play this, but I got to tell you, I might interrupt several times because this is interruption worthy.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Seek to place a name in a nomination, Speaker.
The gentleman is recognized.
So this is what the chamber looks like when we're actually debating and the bodies are in the chairs. How many times have we been down here giving speeches and there's not a soul in the chamber? Yet this is what it takes to get 435 people in the chamber and have an actual debate. The American people are watching, and that's a good thing. What we're doing is exercising our rights to vote and have a debate and have a discussion about the future of this country through the decision of choosing a speaker.
Have a debate and a discussion about the future of this country when, while they sit there, they enact things like the Patriot Act, which couldn't be more unpatriotic. The Patriot Act, which spends tens of billions, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars every year to levy agencies against us, like the Department of Homeland Security, which is $55 or $60 billion a year, $9 billion a year TSA, to run roughshod over our Fourth Amendment right to be secure in our persons, houses, papers, and effects in American airports all across this country, as well as other garbage that comes down the pike to take away the freedoms of Americans away. What good does it do to have Congress, who's supposed to be protecting, defending, and upholding our rights, when we have the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, which allows for the incarceration of Americans without charge, without trial, and without due process of law? What about the NDRP, the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act, that seeks to commandeer and apprehend all sources of power, all lands, all food, all water, every utility? That is not working in the best interest of the American people. So you can debate all day long, and you do. And the base congressman makes $174,000 a year, and they probably gave themselves a raise. That's probably outdated. Plus benefits. Do you make $174,000 a year? Do you get to jet set across the country while you tell everybody else, hey, we got to issue all these carbon credits, or we got to issue more taxes so that we can give the politicians and the special interests more money so we can heal the planet? Do you get that kind of benefit? No, you don't. So he's going to conclude with, we can't stop the swamp from running over the American people. Then what are you there for? Why are we paying you? Maybe it's time to, what did Samuel Adams say? When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes what?
This is not personal. It's not. This is about the future of the country. This is about the direction of the country. American people who are looking at this body and wondering why we can pass $1.7 trillion bills that are unpaid for. They can just slide in $45 billion for Ukraine but not pay for it. $40 billion for emergency spending and not pay for it.
Yeah, how can they do that? How is it possible to do that? Could you do that with a sound, honest money system? Or can you only do it when you have a fiat currency money system? Harkening back to Amschel Rothschilds, who said, give me control over a nation's money and I don't care who makes its laws. I don't care what they debate. I don't care how many chairs are filled in the House and the Senate. It doesn't matter to me what they banter back and forth over. I control the levers of power. I control the issuance and the value of the currency. The only way you can send 40, 50, $65 billion to Ukraine, he's going to talk about defense spending. He's going to talk about, it's offense spending. He's going to talk about military industrial complex spending rising by 10%. How is that possible? With a dishonest money system. And who's responsible for the dishonest money system? And since when? Since 1913, and it's called the Federal Reserve.
Percent increase in defense spending.
And they are the gatekeepers. They are the gatekeepers for the Federal Reserve.
Pay for it. 10% increase in defense spending, 6% increase in non-defense spending, and not pay for it. And not do a thing except put language in a bill that prohibits our ability to use the money to secure the border. That bill gets rammed through, and we know exactly how it gets rammed through, because the defense world and the non-defense world come together and say, you know what? We're going to cut a deal, and we'll all go to the mics, and we'll all go give speeches, and the American people are the big losers.
Really? You don't say. So basically what you're admitting, Chip Roy, and guys, I'm not Democrat or Republican. These guys are all political parasites. They are sucking off of every last one of us. They're draining our time and our laboring energies and our product while they produce nothing but hardship and laws and regulations and ordinances which lessen our rights and increase their coffers because they steal more money from us every single year, whether it's Republican or Democrat. Notice what he's not saying. He's not saying, hey, we're stealing from the American people. They're working hard and they're expecting us to make policies that make them more free and more prosperous, and we're doing the exact opposite. That's what he's not saying. We need to stop pilfering from the American people. Who's on board with me? I bet every American would be. I bet if you ran on the platform of, hey, we're going to abolish the biggest domestic terror cell that America has ever seen, the IRS, I bet everybody'd be on board with that. You think everybody wants to go through that stress every April? No way. That guy he'd be elected in a heartbeat. But why don't they do that? Because those aren't the people they cause to float to the top. Those aren't the people that inhabit Washington's district of criminals, because Washington's district of criminals, each and every one of them operates as gatekeepers for the Federal Reserve and the IRS, who are your sworn enemies. And you can see that by their actions.
That's what happens. We know that's what happens. The Rules Committee sits up there and passes a bill, sends it to the floor, and we have no debate on the floor of this body. We haven't been able to offer an amendment on the floor of this body since May of 2016. The former leader and I have discussed this right here. That's true.
You know, they could all get together right now. I'm just thinking about this IRS Federal Reserve thing. Let's just talk about the IRS. Let's talk about the defense contractors. The IRS and the defense contractors, every single one of those, if they wanted to, the congressmen and senators and the Republicans and Democrats, every single one of them could get together. They could draft a piece of paper and say, we're eliminating the IRS today. What American would stand up and object to that? Not one. Not one who was sane anyway. Not one who didn't have a gun to their head and was forced to say, no, we want to keep the domestic terror cell alive and kicking.
But the fact is, this place has to change. It has to change. And the change comes by either adopting rules and procedures that will make us actually do our job, or it comes from leadership. And people ask me, what do you want? I want the tools, or I want the leadership to stop the swamp from running over the average American every single day.
And he says what they're saying right now is they don't have the tools. They don't have the leadership to stop the swamp from steamrolling over Americans. They don't have it. Why? Because they're part of the machinery. They're part of the machinery that gives the beast system its gas, who gives the swamp its power and sliminess.
We can't keep doing this. I'm going to sit here until we figure out how to stop spending money we don't have. I don't want any more empty promises. I don't want any more, oh, don't worry, trust us, we'll do it. I want to know that we're going to be able to exercise our rights as a member of this body to stand up for the American people and actually fix this country. And it's not going to happen when we use our men and women in uniform in defense and wrap ourselves around that and then spend more money that we don't have, weakening that defense, weakening our country in the process.
I mean, he's intermingling a lot of truth with a lot of error here, and a lot of things that are left unsaid, a lot of issues that are left not dealt with.
But that's what we just did. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking for us to come together and figure out how to solve these problems. And to do that, I'm going to do what I did my very first act as a member of Congress, or as a congressman-elect, and nominate Jim Jordan for Speaker. Now, Jim has said he doesn't want that nomination, and Jim has been down here nominating Kevin, and I respect that. And again, I have no personal animus towards Kevin. And I've worked for the last 2 months to try to figure out how to get the rules to make this place better, and we've made progress. But we do not have the tools or the leadership yet to stop the swamp for rolling over the American people. Jim has been doing it. He has a track record of doing it. And for those reasons, I am nominating Jim Jordan from Ohio for Speaker of the House of Representatives.
They don't have the tools or the desire to stop the swamp from steamrolling over the American people. Again, not Democrat or Republican. This left versus right paradigm lie thing is why we're sunk as Americans. It's why laws are written and more rights are taken. It's why it's becoming more expensive and the state is becoming more powerful and Americans are becoming more weak and the purchasing power of the dollar is diminishing. This is why. Because they are aligned against us. And as he admitted, they can't stop the swamp from steamrolling over us. Leave your thoughts about this. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com, and grab a design from the store that you can put on any shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, pillowcase, sticker, whatever you want. There's 110, 112 designs now. I put up one or two brand new ones. If you want to take a look at them, the links are in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you for your support. I will see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.
Guys, we already know that they want to decimate the dollar, destroy the economy, bring us into a cashless society, and eventually make it difficult for us to even get food. That's why I constantly promote My Patriot Supply. Every chance I get, I turn my fiat currency notes into long-term storable food. This stuff is awesome. It's got a 25-year shelf life. And one thing we're all going to need is storable food. It's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. With my link in the description, you get $100 off of every order instantly. It'd be a good idea to order it while you can, because I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be able to ship this out. My link for your $100 off discount is in the description below.